Hi, I'm Joseph Fink. This is the first episode of our new podcast, Alice Isn't Dead, which will run every other Tuesday from March 8th to July 12th. We are going to be putting the first 3 episodes on the NightVale feed, so if you like what you hear, please subscribe directly to Alice Isn't Dead on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts in order to hear the entire story. Thank you.
Alice, I want to start by saying, oh shit. Sorry, someone cut me off. Anyway, I want to start by saying that this is not a story. It's a road trip. Which, same difference. In a good one, the start is exciting and the finish is satisfying and we end up somewhere else. Somewhere a long way from where we started. I don't know where this trip started, what counts as the first moment. But for lack of a better answer, I'll start with this. I'll start with the omelet.
Alice Isn't Dead by Joseph Fink. Performed by Jessica Nicole. Produced by Disparition. Part 1, Chapter 1. Omelet. Thank you to Audible.com for supporting Alice Isn't Dead and making this show possible. For a free 30-day trial, go to audible.com/dead. That's audible.com/dead. And stick around after the show for the answer to this question: why did the chicken cross the road? It's not what you think.
I was sitting at a gas station. Or not a gas station, a diner that was in a gas station. The diner part of the gas station. I was in that. It was somewhere near Spokane, I think. I saw a man eating an omelet, but it wasn't the omelet. But it was just the way he was eating the omelet. He was devouring it. Big chunks of yellow scooped up with long, grease-stained fingers, just shoving them into his mouth. And he was staring at me. He was wearing a yellow hat, like a baseball hat. His fingernails were yellow too. Not cigarette yellow or nail polish yellow. Translucent yellow, just below the surface. Polo shirt. Dirty. Filthy. Dirtier than you think a restaurant would allow someone to wear. Would serve. Just the word thistle on the right breast. No logo. And he was moving that omelet from plate to mouth like it had nothing to do with eating. Like he was just a machine that's function was to do that. And he was staring at me. No, he was eyeing me. No. Staring. People say that bad experiences are like nightmares. This wasn't a nightmare. What I remember most about it was how real it was. Even as it happened, I noticed that the most, how real it was, how I couldn't escape that reality, how I would never be able to convince myself I remembered any part of it incorrectly. Alice. It's the engine, Alice. The sound of it. The noise of a truck this size. The height. Oh, it's the height. None of us are used to being this height anymore. Once upon a time, we rode horses. I mean, you know what I mean. I've never even seen a horse up close. It's the height. I'll get used to it. There's this tower in the distance, coming out of the hillside. Looks like it's part of a factory, but just coming right out of the earth. Creepy. Gut creepy, like something gone wrong. like a terrible crime. It looks like something out of a myth. I guess that's where myths come from, when the real world looks like something out of a myth. Who am I at this point in my life to talk about unreality? That's so weird. It doesn't look real. I can't stop thinking about what's behind me. Not the stuff in the back, not what they've got me carrying. I think this assignment's travel-sized deodorant. Most deodorant can go on a plane. You don't need travel-sized versions. Not that many ounces even in full-sized ones. But anything that can hold a price a single human being will lay down for cash has to exist, and so here we are. Me and my cargo. Hauling what needn't have ever been from the place it needn't have been made to the place it needn't be used. I'm not getting distracted. I know what you're thinking, Alice. This is intentional avoidance. I don't have to explain myself to you. But I will. I just passed an exit sign that said Anaconda Opportunity. That's a fine invitation, but I think, I mean, no thanks. I will pass that opportunity up. An explanation. Right. Big chunks of eggs. Chewing them. Devouring them. He saw me staring back. Now we were staring at each other. Something electric and monstrous there in the diner between us. The face of death in styrofoam ceiling tiles and sagging pleather booths. He got up and approached my table. His clothes were filthy. He walked like his legs weren't muscle and bone, but just sacks of meat attached to his torso. He sat across from me and he licked his lips. When he spoke, his voice sounded like the accidental hollowing of the wind. "It's a fine evening," he said. "Doesn't look much like rain." Egg crusted his lips and his chin. His teeth were an impossibility of spacing and angle. Nothing about his tone matched the words he was saying. At first, I didn't say anything. I thought if I was quiet, he would go away, but that only works with people who aren't already in it to bother you, who haven't already made up their minds to be awful. "Hope you don't mind if I join you," he said. Not a question or a request, but a joke. "I actually was hoping to eat alone," I said. "Good people deserve good things," he said. I didn't know what to say to that. He scratched his cheek, scratched it really hard, and I swear that some of it peeled away under his fingers. "It's dangerous out here," he said. "Out where?" I said. "This state? This country? Life is dangerous. Did you come over here to explain death to me?" He laughed. "Yes," he said. "I came over to explain death to you." He leaned in close. His breath was rotten, not bad, but like fruit turning to soil. "Want to see something funny?" he asked. He got up. "Thistle," his shirt said. His face was slack and not quite arranged right. Like human, but not. He walked over to a table where there was this man, a truck driver probably. He looked like a truck driver. What does a truck driver look like? "Hey, Earl," the Thistle man said. "Huh?" said Earl, looking up. He seemed just as unhappy as me to be disturbed, but then the Thistle man grabbed him by the back of his neck and Earl's face went vacant. The Thistle man picked Earl up by the neck and Earl walked with him. He looked asleep almost, or like some part of him wasn't there anymore. Neither Earl nor the Thistle man paid their checks. No one did anything. No one looked. But it was... There are times I hate you more than any of them, Alice.